basically I was asking before, just for the record here, how are you bringing this into the world on a daily basis? What are you tachlis doing? You said you're being it, you're embodying it.
So as I said, I started answering that it's about me being it, because I sometimes would think that Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't able to put the Yidden and bring the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael, to bring the Geulah, because he used force instead of talking, and that's maybe something of a sign that his approach is more pushing than explaining, and that's not how you could create a Geulah, because a Geulah is about doing it from your own, by explaining, not by pushing. So you can't have the Geulah. But Mashiach is going to be the epitome of not pushing. So it's going to be even a deeper level, that he's not even going to talk. He's just going to be. And by simply being, before I said that people are going to ask around him how, and they're going to just pester until he's going to explain it exactly. But the real thing is even simpler than that. By him being in that place, he will be in a place where no one, in the deeper place where no one was there before. So no one built up a position. So he's just going to act in his life, and his nuances are going to, people are going to say, oh my God, it's a whole different way, wow. It's just like, imagine you're walking on a floor, and all of a sudden you realize it's glass and you're seeing down 5 floors. You say, oh, it's not like you don't have a problem because you didn't build up any opposition. It's just something totally new. Oh my God, I didn't realize we're like 7 floors below. But so this is going to be that a person is, once one person gets it fully, he gets it in the strongest way, and it's the truth, right? And no one has anything against this truth. It's just going to be like, oh, poof, wow, I didn't chap. It's just going to be a new reality. It's just going to kick in, finish. So it's not even going to be words. That's answering your point on what the tachlis is. The tachlis is to just, ask Hashem and for me and for all of us to go into that, because that helps. My talking, listening, you listening and saying words of encouragement helps me, helps all of us, and whoever brings it, it doesn't matter. Let's just live in that world. But that's one element. But then there's the element of the app, because even in the Geulah world, we're still going to use roads. The app is a road. The app is just a tool that just makes it fun, gives song to experience, meaning I'm just saying, makes experience connected, stories and yeah.
Would you say in the Geulah world we're always in consciousness, in pleasure consciousness, or is it just that we know how to tap into pleasure consciousness?
We're always there.
So then where's the chiddush? Because you were talking about pleasure being novel.
Perfect. And the answer is, very good question, and this is part of the reason why even the philosophers, the chacham of the world, always said pleasure is fleeting and this and that, because it became boring, because they don't know how to be mechaber and create new things. Now, in the app world, I explained how it's constantly new, right? Because it's constantly new people adding onto the story, and I'm adding onto different people's stories, so it's always new creations and new pleasures. But in the conceptual world, where we're going to go into understanding, seeing ourselves as fully non-physical beings with powers that we could, and the physicality is just a form of consciousness that we will ultimately be able to control, because we get it, that it's all, once we get it, we get it. You can't unlearn what you learned already, what you know. So we're and as far as to your question, in the abstract world, it has a concept of how you could have Tanit Ein Sof. The point is that that's the answer with the X, because if you have such a kind of chibur, if Tanuk, that the very Tanuk creates for you another Tanuk, then you, because it creates something new, so you're always in new. And that's the X. And that's the app.
The infinity.
The infinity. That this creates something new, so you're never out of new, because this chibur, boom, right away creates the new chibur that creates new, and that chibur creates, you have that algorithm, and that's and that in the real world, it's also for me, it's always seeing the mantra till now in the world, to the world to have some social cohesion, is by which is be the same to him like you would want him to be to you. Problem with that, it's a beautiful concept, but when we're on the easier side, we forget about the other side, and it's something that we have to do, but we don't do it. Here's the answer. The answer is that's the problem with the Eitz Hadas. We think we are here, that doing to others is like being toiv, is being a goody, being a good person. Really, that's the fun. The fun is to do together. With sitting alone is no fun in life. So by making everything separate, we took away the fun of our creativity. Because we're not creating together, we're fighting, and that's why it's bezayis hapechot. We don't enjoy our work, we don't enjoy our creativity, because we're cutting it off. We don't know how to work together and to make it so that is, I don't know where I went off a little bit in a tangent.
We were on that's just the chiddush, like how do you keep it fresh? And so you talked about that, but I think it's what your answer is like the synergy of, we said creativity we're not creating together, we're fighting, we don't enjoy our creativity because we're cutting it off. So how do we save ourselves from ourselves, from really this Yetzer Hara, I guess is really what it is.
I was saying that there's no, here's the thing I was trying to say. There's no Yetzer Hara, there's no Toivara. There is understanding how to get the most pleasure or not. We change doing to someone else. So here's the mantra, that the Geulah mantra, the Geulah approach to V'ahavta Kamochu. It's for people to realize that my movement is always, I want to create a chibur that builds on itself more connection. Because once I realize that connection is pleasure. Now, here we have to understand something with connection. That you could connect a piece of metal, a knife to a hand and cut off a finger. It's also a connection, but it's not pleasure. Why? Because it's a connection that actually creates very many lesser. It disconnects a lot of things. I can't use the hand. It's a lot of things that are not. It's not pleasure. It's meaning pleasure is new. And new is when I'm able to make new connections. But if I'm cut off from able to make new connections, so it's the opposite of pleasure. Now, but this I have to explain better a little. I'm not going into the pleasure, that part. I just want to say that in order for us to have pleasure is by creating a connection that creates more connections. And the more, once we understand that connection is the pleasure, so I could make a new connection of putting this over here instead of over here, but it's not really new. The connection is already there in almost all of its aspects. But if I make a connection that I make this stand in the middle of the ear without anything, that's something new. And that's more fun. So the more it's a powerful connection, meaning it's something that you see as different, and now you see it as connected, it becomes like something new. So that's, if we have this one mantra, I want to connect every minute in a way that brings more connections. Because that's how I will always be in places of pleasure. And that's how everyone would be, and they will never want to fight. Because they always want to look for a connection, an interaction that brings more interactions, not less interactions. Because more interactions is more pleasure. That gives a stronger connection, so it's more pleasure. So that's what, that mantra, and that's again the X, that's the symbol of the kiss, where it's two Ks that create two more Ks. There's a building block for the other Ks. And that's the mantra that we want to create for the world. That's the Mashiach mantra, the Mashiach symbol. And that's why that's the symbol.
Say the mantra one more time.
Huh?
Say the mantra one more time, the tagline.
The mantra is the Ks, the two Ks that kiss, and because they're perfectly kissing, they create a new connection. So it's pleasure because it's the ultimate connection, and that creates a new connection. So that means that I will always look at every interaction. It should bring more, it should build more connection, more connection.
I think we need for your mantra to
be a little shorter.
We need to get it into a tagline.
Yeah.
We're gonna get. We'll help you get there, but it's just workshop-ish. Okay, I'm trying to think. I mean, it's already 1:15. I mean, I don't really care, but what time it is. But just trying to think if there's anything else that, I mean, it's a million things I still want to ask you. We'd be here until the morning.
Yeah.
But
he has to. דודי, אתה רוצה ללכת? אני מבין. כן, אוקיי. עוד 5 דקות.